Hi guys, I have another Monster Hunter model for you today, and this time it's the... Oh, what do you want? Cat's making noise again. This time it's the creator's model Kirin. Now the Kirin isn't new to this channel. Last time I reviewed the miniature figure builder model. We saw how even at that scale, Capcom gave us a detailed figure that was still very nicely painted. But now, we're going to see the larger scale, more detailed Big Brother, the Capcom Creators Model version. And right away, I think you can see how awesome he is. Now the Kirin, or Kirin, is an Asiatic half-Chinese dragon, half-horse creature. Since I love both dragons and horses, this creature has delighted me for many years. I was very happy to acquire the Monster Hunter version of it before, and now I'm even happier. Did I say I love horses too? The color palette is white and light blue, with Prussian blue accents, just as we saw in the figure builder. And this is quite an unusual color because most of my dragons have darker tones, and see how this contrasts so nicely with the much darker base. Let's remove him for an easier look. And now let's start with the fur. Electricity is a theme of this animal, which fits how its fur is always standing on end, probably charged with static electricity. Now this means the fur can both be flowy but also have points of accents that are really striking. In fact, points could well be a theme of this sculpture, which you can see here in the pointed beard, the mane, the shoulder fur, the tail, and of course the single horn from its forehead. The detail is of course wonderful, as to be expected. Just look at the mane, for instance, and you'll see how each little tuft of hair has its own character. But in totality, they all blend together as one related anatomical feature. There are subtle shades within the fur, but this is heightened even more by the shadows the different areas cast on each other, lending much visual interest. The beard too has a similar pattern, but finer in detail, as you'd expect. From the top, you can see how it combines with the mane into an almost diamond frame, once again emphasizing the pointiness of this animal. The fur collar from this angle, you can see how it frames the animal so nicely. Oh, look at that upward flaring, just love that. And from here, combining with the mane and the withers, then continuing down the back to the tail, where it expands out again. I just love how everything is tied together. Not forgetting, of course, these tufts on the fore and the hind ergots. I just love this kind of design when you can just tell that, a lot of thought went into creating a cohesive organism. The horn is intricately lined with these purple markings, although I wish they'd gone with the blue in the figure builder. In fact, the color scheme seems quite the reverse, with a blue horn and purple body on the figure builder, and the purple horn and blue body on the creator's model. I also wish the eyes were the same glowing red that you see here in the miniature. And if only I knew how to paint this myself the same red, I would. Still, I think you can see here the extra detail this larger scale offers, as good as a miniature is. In the face, for example, look at the fine detail of the scales. But over here on this larger canvas, you see it really affords more color choices and blends. And you can see how this faint blue transitions to a light purple to a white. We've already seen how good the scale detail on a small figure builder is. But at this larger scale, it's a whole different level. Now look here at the folds in the throat region, the lines of the separate musculature. And over that are these layers of almost bead-like scutes. And when you have the dry brushing of white that brings them out, and also the black. I mean, on this smaller model, you can see these black stripes. But on this creator's model, it's as if you took a magnifying glass and realized that the black is made up of individual black scales. And I really like this kind of up-close experience. Down here it's the same, but you'll see another cool detail. The striping created by these silver scales are not just one band, but you can see here they are in fact an interdigitation of two bands, one proceeding from the top and the other alternating from the bottom, which is a very cool look. In the arm and thigh, you see these larger scales, almost scutes I would say, sculpted so beautifully. They flow in very discrete lines, down here, and here, in the front over here, and of course they decrease in size down the limb, and down in the cannons. You see how the scales change in form, almost to the scutate scales you'll see on the anterior shank of a bird, and how very fine they are as they descend into the hooves. Again, both on the fore and the hind limbs too. You'll see this design reflected in the tail. And on the underside, again a different kind of scale. Overall, it's just such an aesthetically pleasing creature. Now the base. The base is really something. Now this appears to me to be an eruption of rock from which the Kirin has just appeared and which has crystallized, perhaps by the power or the electricity surrounding the Kirin, into this crystalline frozen structure. It's almost how I imagine lava frozen to look like, and you can see that the paint application is just quite astonishing. From the translucent tips, darkening as it heads downwards, with bright highlights that, together with the sculpt, just suggests rock that's been transmuted into a crystalline structure. On the inside, you'll see the same, though of a darker blue color. I don't quite have the words to describe this, to be honest, because my knowledge of geology sucks, but I think you can see for yourself. So, putting everything together, you see how pleasingly the Kirin is framed. Imagine it landing like a comet in the ground, and as it rises, it instantly super hardens and crystallizes the surrounding earth through heat or electricity, or just sheer awesome power. Notice how the motif of points is echoed here in the base. So you have a balance and a cohesion between animal and base, resulting in a diorama that looks absolutely fantastic from any angle. This really is a beautiful, beautiful creature that ties in my love of dragons and my admiration of horses. And although I've used the word beautiful on many models to the point it's been, I guess, a little bit overused, there's another even better word I can use to describe this model, and that word is art. So I hope you've enjoyed your look at this incredible model, and I'll see you guys soon.